Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today for our CPG post-COVID event. Very excited to be here today. I will give a quick intro and then pass it on to the true stars of the show. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is George Demoni. I am one of the partners here on the Ventures team. I've been lucky enough to be at Plug and Play for the past 7 years now. So we've grown a lot since then. I'm going to share where we are now as a company in a bit. But I'm lucky enough to sit on the board of Plug and Play. I've invested in over 100 companies for Plug and Play Ventures, including 4 of the unicorns that we have now in our portfolio. So we always like to start with the story of Plug and Play and where we come from with our roots. And it really is a story of the first 30 employees of Google or so in this photo. Our founders and CEO, Saeed Hamidi, he actually owns a bunch of commercial real estate buildings. And some of those buildings host startups. They're tenants of startups. And there's one building in Palo Alto called 165 University Avenue, where Google, Logitech, PayPal, and Danger, which is the Sidekick phone, grew from 2 to 50 employees in that building and went to build fantastic, huge monolith companies. So this photo here is actually the first 30 or so employees of Google right in front of that building. And our founder was actually their landlord. He saw the company grow and is still very good friends with Omid Kordestani right there on the bottom left, who's on the cell phone, who became the chairman of Twitter, the CRO of Google. Marissa Mayer is in that photo as well. We just invested in her new company, Sunshine. So these relationships really stuck with us. And he actually invested in PayPal. So the model was see the companies grow within the building and then invest in the ones that are really gaining traction, growing their headcounts, and put some money into the companies and pray a lot. And PayPal now is actually one of the better investments that we ever made just from the real estate. So fast forward to today, our mission at Plug and Play is to drive innovation by connecting entrepreneurs, corporations, and investors worldwide. And we really do that in 2 main functions. One, we're an early stage investor. We're actually one of the more active investors in the world, doing over 100 investments per year, mostly in the seed and Series A stage. So this is when a company is anywhere between 2 to maybe 15 employees and have an idea, might have a product, maybe not, maybe a few customers. And the second part is we're a global innovation platform connecting startups to over 450 corporate partners around the world for potential licensing deals, business development opportunities, or even acquisition. And as mentioned, we are hopefully taking over the world. So we have 34 offices around the world. We just launched an office in Istanbul, Turkey. We're launching an office in Miami, Morocco, and a few more locations. So it's very exciting times for us here at Plug and Play. And as mentioned, we have one of the largest corporate networks in the world. We're very fortunate to work with the Global 1000. So we have corporates like Amazon and Walmart, both as partners, PepsiCo and Coca-Cola, both as partners, 90 insurance companies, 75 plus banks. So we're extremely fortunate and lucky to have the largest corporate network in the world connecting startups to corporates. And as mentioned, we rely heavily on our VCs. We're writing small checks in companies and we're doing a lot of them. So we're fortunate enough to have other VCs like this invest 20, 30, even $100 million in our companies after we invested in them. And there's a story of our founder and CEO introducing Lending Club to Norwest. Norwest is, I would say, one of the top 10 VCs in the world. Norwest invested $26 million into Lending Club, which returned back $1.1 billion in capital, which was their best investment yet. And again, we are super lucky and fortunate to have such an amazing portfolio. 14 unicorns in the portfolio, 4 of which happened last year alone. So as mentioned, we have Dropbox, PayPal, Lending Club. We have Hippo in the portfolio, which is a home insurance platform that actually I use it. I recommend it. Rumors are they're going public via SPAC in a couple months. So look out for that. We had Customer just get acquired by Facebook for over $1 billion in cash. We had Big ID raise that over $1 billion valuation in December, which Kevin and I invested in. Honey that got acquired by PayPal for $4 billion earlier last year. So again, very lucky and fortunate to have such an amazing roster of portfolio companies. So switching gears just a little bit, talking about now going on to the kind of the changing consumer. And I remember when I started in VC, um, everybody was talking about millennials and Gen Y, right? And I felt like I had an unfair advantage being a millennial. But now the whole Gen Z generation is coming in, and I'm learning, just as many of you on the call, what Gen Zs look for and what makes them tick. And really, the difference is they're born digital. My generation had, like, I got my first computer when I was 7, right? Gen Zs, started with a cell phone, and arguably, my generation is a generation of Facebook and Instagram. Gen Z is more TikTok and Snapchat. And we're getting asked this question a lot, where consumers are caring about in CPG. And talking to our VC partners, our corporate partners, and of course startups, we're seeing 4 main categories pop up. One is wellness. It's quite obvious, but as the consumer becomes more health conscious and more educated over time, wellness and health products are becoming increasingly important. And we're seeing that with a lot of the new CPG companies on the market today, and even companies like Hims, right, that focuses on men's wellness and health. Convenience, that's a big one for 2020, and I think it'll be continue to be a big one for 2021. As consumers are going to the stores less and physical retail is shifting more into online, CPG has a really important role to play while driving more convenient way of delivering products and getting products as a consumer. Of course, hyper-targeted is incredibly important. Consumers no longer want the commercial approach when it comes to pushing product. They want a hyper-targeted product that really fits into the ethos of the consumer. So if it's a sustainable brand, they should be targeting sustainable focused consumers, which leads it to the next topic, sustainability. We're seeing this as an increasingly important trend, and a lot of it with social pressure with brands. The consumers will shop where with products that they care about, and sustainable products are becoming increasingly important, not only for the environment, but also for the dollars that consumers are putting into it today. And it's no surprise that food and beverage and CPG in general is growing as a trend, and VC dollars are being poured into the space pretty heavily. We're seeing a huge uptick in the last 5 years alone, with last year leading the charge by far with over 540 deals across 5 billion, almost 6 billion in funding across food and beverage companies alone. At the same time, this is a kind of a graph over the last 10 years for sustainability, both with food waste and plastic waste and news coverage. So this is obviously an increasingly important topic, not only for consumers, but also market sentiment. And brands are starting to really tick on this, and it's becoming very important for not only a brand to have a great product, but also be sustainable. And it's no secret that a lot of the VC dollars have gone into products like this. Leading the charge is the alternative and sustainable proteins, much led by Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, which took 31% of the VC funding over the last 5 years. So it's no secret, consumers want this. It focuses on wellness, sustainability, and many other topics that we're seeing in this space. And then really quickly, I wanted to touch on 2 new unicorns in the space, which are really interesting. Oatly, which is a fantastic product. I actually have it in my coffee now. I drink it every day, but we all saw their crazy valuation. They're now a multi-billion-dollar company, and they started 5-6 years ago. And of course, Kim Kardashian is now a billionaire with her CPG product. So I think we're seeing some really interesting trends in the market, and these are 2 examples of that. So again, I wanted to set the stage very quickly. I think we have a very exciting panel coming up. For those of you, again, my name is George Demooney. Here's my email if you want to reach out to me. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it to my partner in crime, Kevin Parakatu, who's leading the discussion in our panel.